I think this is one of the best films of the year.
Josh O'Connor week continues apace here at Breakfast All Day. I kind of feel like it's Josh O'Connor's year.
Yeah, pretty much. It's his world and we're just living in it. And I'd be more annoyed about it if you weren't so damn good in everything.
He's so versatile. He can do it all. Like,
yeah.
He's a priest. He's a cowboy. He's a priest. He's a cowboy. He's, what else? He's a thief.
Yeah.
Anyway, Josh O'Connor can do it all. And here he is indeed a cowboy in Rebuilding, a lovely little indie gem that premiered at Sundance. So we're doing a little bit of Art House Tuesday on a Friday for you. So come subscribe if this kind of movie interests you. Alonso, what happens in Rebuilding?
Some people lost everything. I still got stuff.
Okay, then. Begin again.
Yeah, this is a very Sundance-y kind of movie. It's Max Walker-Silverman wrote and directed. He did the film A Love Story a couple years back. Had a really great Dale Dickey performance in it. And this one is very much of a piece with that. It's set in Colorado. Josh O'Connor plays a guy named Dusty. Before the film, or as the film begins, there's a devastating fire that goes through the hills, sends him off of his rather large piece of land and several other people who live nearby. They all wind up in these FEMA trailers. Dusty has an ex-wife named Ruby, played by Meghann Fahy, and they are both raising their daughter Callie Rose, played by LaTorre, who's great.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so it's basically about him figuring out what's next. You know, he has dreams about rebuilding the farm, but obviously the fire took out both the house and the farm, so he can't borrow against one for the other. There don't seem like there's going to be a lot of options there, but he's also doing his best to be a good dad, and he's very much there for Callie Rose. And they're just these lovely understated moments where, you know, even though the parents aren't together anymore, obviously they're doing a good job at sort of co-raising this kid. Meghann Fahy's mom is played by Amy Madigan in a very non-Aunt Gladys role.
Totally.
She too has amazing range. You know, and the other people in the little FEMA trailer park include Callie Reese. There's an elderly lesbian couple. There's a hermit that we almost never see. Nobody else does either. And yeah, so this isn't a majorly plot driven film. It's more about kind of people at a juncture in their lives and figuring out, you know, now what do I do? How do I define myself when this thing that has been my life is now not an option? So it's very understated. It's very, you know, it has a great deal of affection for the characters. This is not one of those kind of like, oh, let's be condescending towards, you know, the rootsy, you know, real Americans or whatever. Like these characters are complex and they're funny and they are resilient. And I was very moved by this. I have to say, like, it started off and I just thought, okay, this is going to be one of those really quiet Sundance-y dramas, but between the performances, which from O'Connor on down are all really great, and just the sense of place, the sense of who these people are, the community that they build together, the family that's being built or that's being sustained during this crisis, it really hits hard. And I'd say this and Train Dreams are very much kind of a piece in terms of being movies about the kind of people that, you know, we don't usually make movies about, that the history books don't pay a lot of attention to, but who are essential to, you know, the populace. And I found myself absorbed in both of these stories. And I think this is one of the best films of the year.
Wow. Yeah, I was tearing up a couple different times here as well, and it sneaks up on you. It's so rich in its sense of place and who these characters are, and establishes who they are in a very efficient way. Yeah, this is like the best Chloe Zhao movie that Chloe Zhao never made.
Yes, totally.
Right. In terms of like its depiction of America, in terms of its vast vistas and letting us take a few moments to just be and just sit with these people and see what they see. This place that they love where they've lost everything, but they want to stay. I mean, the way that this director depicts that makes you see why that is, you know, it's their home and they don't want to leave to have to go and create a new life elsewhere. The script is so spare, but achieves a great deal of backstory in ways that feel super organic and unforced. Like there's no big exposition dump. There's a scene where Callie Rose has to do like a family tree project for her class.
So great.
So smart. And that is revelatory. And that's one of the big emotional scenes for me, at least. There's a scene where Dusty takes Callie Rose back to the farm, back to their ranch, and explains like, here was the kitchen, here's where I want to do this. And again, like that is a place where we learn a lot about this person and this family and why this land matters to these generations of people in a way that feels totally natural and just feels like we are hanging out with them. And that happens over and over again. There is political commentary here, but not in a partisan way. You know, they only get as much as they can get from FEMA. And that is a running undercurrent of tension. If it feels like nothing happens and there's no conflict, it's just because it's the slow burn, the simmer of our entire lives are upended and what's going to happen to us. And the federal government can only take care of us for so long. And so Callie Reese's character addresses that in a way that's very simple and pointed, but does not make any kind of like specifically partisan commentary.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, this story could be happening during any of the last 7 or 8 presidential administrations. You know, it's not like the farmers had it so good and then they didn't. Like they get screwed over one way or another constantly by the government, and so it doesn't feel specifically partisan in that way at all. And obviously the fact that these people are dealing with fires, I think really hits home for those of us in Southern California who've been dealing with it. And there's other parts of the country that have had, you know, whether it's flooding or other disasters that are happening. And so you really it's an extra level of empathy and relatability for these characters. And I love just little details like the way that people, like the library will be closed, but people will gather in the parking lot to use the Wi-Fi, you know.
That's its own little community there.
Exactly, because it's the only place in town that has any Wi-Fi, you know. This movie really snuck up on me in a beautiful and delicate way, and the ending I just found really gutting.
I also really like the way that this director shoots Josh O'Connor, because we see him at a distance quite a bit. He's a very stoic character for a long time, and he's a very sort of traditional American figure, you know, of the West as a cowboy. Dusty is not his real name.
No.
And just how he carries himself in a way that is like abidingly polite and gentlemanly, and he's kind of reticent, and his entire world has collapsed, but he does not show that. He does not open up. And so for like at least the first third of it, we see him at a distance, and increasingly as the film goes on, we see him in close up, which maybe seems like an obvious device, but it really works.
But the way that he's carrying this grief in his body, he's long and lean. He seems taller in this movie somehow.
He's like 6'1".
But like just there's something about the way that you can just feel the events weigh on him as he's trying to like work through stuff. It's a very physical performance in that way. And it reminded me that the first thing I ever saw him in was God's Own Country, where he was playing a sheep herder. So, you know, like he is as believable in this as he is as this sort of like, you know, a rich boy college dropout, you know, in The Mastermind or whatever. Like he really can bring a lot of stuff to play here. But there is a silence that the character kind of carries with him that sort of adds to the haunted nature of it, I guess is the way to put it. I don't know. It reminded me that even though I've been jokingly like, oh God, it's the 8th Josh O'Connor movie this week. Like he's really great. And like his collection of performances this year and over the last couple of years have been, if you throw in like, history of sound and go back to like La Chimera and stuff, like he's just
Challengers.
He's killing it right now.
Yeah. He has to like hunch over to fit into the trailer, his little FEMA trailer. Real fast. The little girl in it is great. Lily LaTorre.
Yes.
Australian, doing a perfect American accent. She's really talented, and there's nothing cutesy kid about her. Like those scenes with Josh O'Connor develop in ways that are subtle and touching. The way that he wants to parent her but doesn't know how, but she like looks to him in a lot of ways for her cues as to how to be in the world, and that these parents don't hate each other and they're just trying to do the best thing for their daughter is lovely and feels very human. So this is really great. I'm with you. So what's your number then on Rebuilding?
I'm going to say a 9.4. I really genuinely love this movie, and I hope people go check it out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to say a 9. It opened in New York last weekend. It's in LA and a few other cities this weekend. I'll put a link down in the description. Bleecker Street on their website has a whole schedule of where it's going to be when. So if it's near you, go check out Rebuilding.